Come around, listen in and join the fun. Learning as we go, new words and stories. Adventures begun. Let's open up the pages. Don't have far to look. It's all in a book. Ruthy's Reading Room. Ruthy's Reading Room. Ruthy's Reading Room. Ruthy's Reading Room.
Why, hello, little readers. Welcome to Ruthy's Reading Room. I'm Ruthy, and I'm here with my buddy Jah. He's my favorite stuffy, and he's going to join us for story time today. Is everybody excited? I certainly am. I feel like it's been a little while since we've shared a story, and I'm so happy that you're here to join us for this amazing book. Now, those who join us every single story time know the drill. I'm going to ask you to run and get your stuffy, a blanket, and a reading buddy, someone that you can bring along to listen to this story. All right? Run and come back now. Okay, my little readers are so excited. You come back so quickly. Are you excited, Jah? He is. He's so excited to see all your beautiful faces and to share this story. How do we figure out which book we're going to read? We have to ask the question. Which book is coming off the shelf next? Let's see. Can you get it, Jah? Oh, yes, he's got it. Oh, here we go. Pick that up with your paws. And da-da-da-da. We have got Jayla's Jaunts, Cruising Down California. Does anyone remember, or is that name Jayla familiar to any of you? Yes, a lot of you little readers. That's right. How do we know that name? Jayla's Jaunts. Let's think back. Yes, that's right, Michaela. There's a series, Jayla's Jaunts, that we've read in Ruthy's Reading Room. Yep, we've gone through many states, haven't we? Alabama, awesome. Alaska, that's right. We've learned about all the states beginning with the letter A, and now we've moved on to C, because there's none that start with B. We didn't forget about B. All right, so Jayla's Jaunts, Cruising Down California. Thank you, Jah. I'm going to put you on my knee. All right, so we've got the book, but we have to make sure that you're all ready. Oh, I forgot. We've got to say who wrote the book, don't we? Can't forget. This book was written by Senyah Haynes and illustrated by Jessica Catarino. And those names will be very familiar to you. And you can even look back in the Jayla's Jaunts playlist on Ruthy's Reading Room. High five. Awesome. So now we know which book we're reading. We've talked about the series, so we know that all the other books talked about the state in the title. So guess what? We must be learning about California today. Hooray! Can any of you tell me anything you know about California? Oh, it's known for sunshine. That's right. Good job, Gabriel. What else? Surfing. Awesome. Good job. Brad. Yeah. Okay, Holly, you have an answer? Hollywood. That's right. So it's where the stars live, right? Yes. Have any of you heard of Los Angeles? LA? Many of you. And a lot of you are Canadian, so we know about our neighbors to the south. High five and thumbs up. All right, so it sounds like we know a little bit about California. Let's find out what Senyah has to add to our knowledge bank. All right, so let's sit nicely. Let's put our listening ears on, and let's put our hands in our laps. Awesome. My little readers are the best. Look at you guys. All right, I'm going to check on you just to make sure everyone is ready. And you know I love my reading spectacles, so... Whoa! Even better. Look at all of you. Hi, Nana. I see you. You're joining us for story time too? I love to have family all around for story time. It's such a great activity to do with the little ones, right? Reading and learning together, talking about what you've read. It's awesome family time. Great job. All right, so I see that we are sitting quietly. Yep, hands to yourself, Rebecca. Good job. All right, so we're ready to dive in. Awesome. To Marmar, thanks for the ride out to see Miss Biddy and that Jordanian feast. Girl! I'm saying what you saying, 'cause you saying what I'm saying, and I like what you saying, so I'm saying it. Awesome. Here we go. Jayla, a bubbly, bouncy, bright-eyed, buoyant, big ideas, big dreams, never bashful little girl, is in a time and space whirlwind. She holds her Auntie Yah-Yah's hands tightly as they are momentarily in that mystical place between here and there. Right in the middle of then and now. Jayla is all giggles as they zoom with magic speed through the whirlwind to their destination. And where is their destination, everybody? California! Woohoo! Let's go! With a soft landing, Jayla finds herself in the seat of a fancy drop top, and the wind blows strongly through her hair like a rocket. They ride down a highway beside the ocean. Woohoo! Jayla screams over the wind. Her favorite thing to do is fun making, and this moment beats them all. Can we all say woohoo together? 1, 2, 3. Woohoo! It's like we're right there in the car with them. All right. California. Oh, there is so much to say. Auntie Yah-Yah yells over the roar of the wind. We'll ride from the top to the bottom today. Jayla takes in the scenery with wonder. Wow, look at the ocean, Auntie. It's so big. She watches the water glisten in the sun and the white foam on the crests of the waves as they drive on. Oh, I hope you close your eyes throughout the book and just imagine the scenery. And of course, I'll put the pictures on the screen. So it's almost like being there, right? Maybe if it's chilly where you are, because it's fall here in Canada, and it's a little nippy, you might want to turn on a heater. Then you'll feel like the sun is just embracing you with the heat and warmth. Yeah, sometimes we have to use our imagination, right? Of course, that's the fun part about reading these books. We get to use our imagination and creativity. Thumbs up. Once they reach their destination, Auntie Yah-Yah, who has turned into an elder, says, Welcome to Oakland, child of mine. We're taking another jaunt back in time. I want to add a new word to your vocabulary. Now repeat after me. Say revolutionary. Elder Yah-Yah speaks in rhymes, so keep your ear out. Jayla repeats with enthusiasm after her auntie. Revolutionary. Can you all say that? Revolutionary. And now quickly, revolutionary. Awesome. Add that to your knowledge bank. Now let's find out what it all means. Listen well, and I'll tell you the tale of young Bobby and Huey P. They live their lives with a social ill called police brutality. In their community, many police cause the people harm instead of good. So there was great fear whenever sirens and red and blue lights came to their neighborhood. Bobby and Huey P were tired of living intimidated. The system as it was could no longer be tolerated. On October 15th, 1966, they founded the Black Panther Party for self-defense. Have any of you heard of the Black Panther Party? Yeah, some of you? Not so many? Yeah. Okay. I have a feeling we're going to learn more today. All right, let's go. It was only logical from their point of view, in their experience, the police needed policing too. Now, have any of you heard any stories, even in recent days, weeks, and months, about police maybe not doing what they're supposed to and hurting black people? Yeah. So it seems like the things that Bobby and Huey P. noticed was going on with police brutality still continues today. So we're still doing the work to make those changes and ensure everyone is safe, right? All right, high five. Their movement spread, and so grew their organization. Different chapters started popping up all over the nation. Their programs brought radical change to society. They did many things to improve the lives of those in poverty. They fed hungry children breakfast before school. They got medicine to those in need. They tried in many ways to uplift their people in ideology and deed. Jayla stops her aunt. What's ideology? She asks. Were some of you asking the same thing? Yeah. Think of ideology as a set of ideas that can gain power as time passes. Ideas and thoughts that can change the world because they really appeal to the masses. Auntie Yah-Yah explains. Jayla thinks a moment. And I'm going to encourage you, little readers, with your caregiver or parent, to think about that too. Ideology is a pretty strong word and powerful when used for good. Okay, that makes sense. So where did the Black Panthers go, she asks. Good question. Auntie Yah-Yah hangs her head low. I can hardly tell the rest of the story without shedding a tear. To their people, they were a source of hope, but to our government, they caused great fear. In short, the Black Panthers were hunted with the intent to capture and destroy. And authorities and officials used every brutal tactic they could deploy. But truth be told, the real heart and soul of this story was not in their demise, but it lives in their glory. Anyone can crush a man, woman, or child at will. But an idea, Jayla, is something nobody can kill. And I'm thankful for that. Some ideas are so amazing, and not everyone agrees with that in the moment, depending on where they sit in society or what their viewpoints are. But ideas that are working towards good and the safety of people, I think those should live on. Jayla and Auntie Yah-Yah stand in Defremery Park and watch a crowd of inspired and hopeful-looking men, women, and children. The man on stage shouts with great passion, "All power to the people!" The crowd explodes in cheers. Jayla has never been to a rally before, and she likes how the man's words seem to bring everybody together. Auntie Yah-Yah snaps her fingers, and they're back in the convertible. Driving away, she says, "And now let's test your memory. What's the newest word in your vocabulary?" Any of you remember, little readers? Helen, go ahead. Revolutionary! Awesome! Jayla smiles and shouts, "Revolutionary!" Jayla got it right too. Auntie Yah-Yah grins from ear to ear as she further explains. A revolutionary is, very plainly put, someone who takes part in a revolution. It's someone who's found a big problem and tries to create a big solution. While on the highway with that rocket wind blowing, Jayla shouts, "Where to next, Auntie?" A ghost town, a monument. It all depends how you look at it. We're going to Colonel Allensworth State Historic Park, a jewel in the Golden State that's really made its mark. Colonel Allensworth founded this namesake town way back in 1908. Let me put up there. 1908, little readers. Long time ago. Known as the only town started, paid for, and run by black folks in the entire state. Wow, that's impressive. Wouldn't it be cool to own your own town? Once parked, Jayla hops out and notices mostly flatland peppered with neat little old-timey buildings that make up the little old-timey town. Wow, Auntie Yah-Yah, it looks just like something out of a movie. When you find yourself in Timbuktu, it's always best to do as they do, Auntie Yah-Yah says with a wink. She claps her hand, and in an instant, she and Jayla are dressed up old-timey, just like the town. Jayla struts around in her fancy new clothes. Do you guys do that, little readers? When you get a new outfit, put it on and do a little fashion show? I know my Maya, she loves her dress up, and she just got a bunch of new dance outfits, so they're super cute, and she even wears them to school. Now the Colonel was born into bondage, but clearly where he began was not where he ended. His childhood was filled with a thirst for learning that left his dreams suspended. In the days of slavery, it was illegal for the enslaved to learn to read or write. Could you imagine, little readers? Just as freely as I'm reading this book to you, and you guys are learning at home with your teachers and caregivers, imagine not being able to learn at all. Like it was against the law to read and write? Oh my goodness, that would be horrible. Thankfully, those who came before us have paved the way and given us the ability to do the things that weren't allowed before. So we always have to show respect for those who came before. All right? All right. Those in control knew that knowledge was power, and they tried to control it with all of their might. I'm sure they did. For the love of learning, young Alan Allensworth found himself beaten and found himself sold. Oh my gosh. It's so sad what's happened in our history. But he couldn't imagine living a life with this kind of treatment until he was very old. Well, the Civil War was raging, so he made his escape and joined the infantry. That became the very first time Alan knew in his life what it was to be free. Imagine that. Being born into slavery, being sold into slavery, and the only way to experience freedom was to join the army. Jayla asked her aunt, "What's an infantry? And why did joining one make him free?" Maybe you were asking the same thing too. An infantry is a group of foot soldiers marching off to fight, and his freedom depended on joining them because, well, let's take you back to the site. And right out of nowhere, they are standing on a giant map. All right, let's try and use our imagination again. Let's close our eyes and pretend like we're standing on the map right beside Jayla and Auntie Yah-Yah. Can you picture it? All right. See there, Auntie says, that's the South where great profit was made from humans who were enslaved. Millions of people's labor was forced their whole lives long, and rest only came in the grave. When the war broke out, the North wore blue and the South, they wore the gray. The Northern goal was to save the Union because the South wanted to break away. And of course the South wanted to go because they wanted to keep people enslaved. So there was a division, right, between the South and the Union. Continuing the story, Auntie Yah-Yah says, if enslaved folk wanted their freedom before the war saw the last bullets fly, they'd escape to the North and put on their blue, ready to fight and ready to die. And that, my dear, is why young Alan joined the infantry, and why doing so was an act of bravery that allowed him to be free. The map dissolves beneath their feet and leaves them to explore the little old-timey town of Allensworth. They walk around and read all the signs in front of each building. They visit the First Baptist Church, the Milner Barber Shop, the Allensworth Hotel, and the Jaunts Bakery. Jayla imagines the muffins they baked there many years ago. Then she hears her auntie say, "Off we go!" Before Jayla's very eyes, both the old-timey town and their old-timey clothes fade away. Now they are somewhere else entirely. Where are we going next, my little readers? I can't wait to find out. Just a turn of the page. Child, let me tell you about a spirited woman, Biddy Mason, but call her Miss Biddy. She's known as the grandmother of one of our most famous and populous cities. Right here in downtown Los Angeles is where her house used to stand. Remember? Los Angeles was one of the things we knew about California. She was a very wealthy woman who owned a whole bunch of land. And just like Colonel Allensworth, how she ended wasn't how she began. And aren't we all happy? Sometimes where we start off is not so great, so we want to definitely have a happy ending to our story. Her enslaver was a Georgian man named Robert Smith, and as a wedding present, Biddy was given to him as a gift. Are you hearing this, little readers? Imagine as a human being being given away as a gift, like property. So happy so much has changed. When Jayla hears that Miss Biddy was given to someone else as a gift, she can't make any sense of it, just like us. Then she remembers how her auntie taught her about slavery, and we've read books about slavery as well, and the time in this country when people were legally allowed to own other people like property and make them work for free. Auntie Yah-Yah continues her story. They moved from Georgia to Mississippi, and that was the place where Smith met up with the Church of Latter-day Saints. When those Latter-day Saints preached to him and told him what they believed, he decided their kind of salvation was something he wanted to achieve. So he became a Latter-day Saint and moved his family to and fro. And of course, where the family went, the people he enslaved also had to go. They ended up here in the Golden State, but thanks to the Compromise of 1850, California joined the country as a no-slavery state, and folks held in bondage were legally free. Hooray! Yes, that's good news. Auntie Yah-Yah continues the tale. I wish I could say landing in a free state was enough to happily seal their fate. Robert Smith didn't want to follow the law that made everybody free. That's not so good news. So he tried kidnapping, running off to Texas. Yes, child, he tried to flee. Miss Biddy escaped, but then Robert caught her and continued his lawless journey. But the LA County Sheriff chased after them with the help of a whole posse. Despite the fact her enslaver tried his best to pull a caper, Miss Biddy got armed with the law, went to court, and got her freedom papers. Oh, good. I was so excited before about the 1850 law, and then found out that Robert Smith was trying to evade the law. But Miss Biddy prevailed. Jayla eagerly listened about Miss Biddy's adventurous escape as her auntie continues. If you ever heard the saying, Jayla, that freedom isn't free, you can think of stories like the one I just told you about dear Miss Biddy. Once she was her own woman, she really made her way in this life. She was a nurse who worked for a famous doctor, and then she became a midwife. She saved her money and purchased land, and then became a business lady. That's not bad for a former bondswoman whose new main profession was birthing babies. Isn't that amazing? Again, to go from being enslaved to getting educated to become a midwife? That's very impressive. And then a businesswoman. Go on with your bad self, Miss Biddy. Auntie Yah-Yah and Jayla look at a wall that has Miss Biddy Mason's life story etched in stone. Jayla is glad there's a place like this monument dedicated to Miss Biddy where she can learn more. Right in front of Miss Biddy's wall, Auntie Yah-Yah reaches into her tiny glittered purse that sparkles as if it makes its own sunlight and pulls out her magic globe. Ooh, this is exciting! Jayla looks for the next date that starts with the letter C and excitedly points a finger. What do you think? Do you guys know which state starts with the letter C after California? Let's find out. In her most bubbly, bouncy, bright-eyed, buoyant, big ideas, big dreams, never bashful sort of way, Jayla proclaims in confidence, Colorado is next. Did any of you get that one? Oh, some of you did. Back in their drop top, Auntie Yah-Yah is youthful again. Her long dark locks trailing behind her in that hair-whipping rocket wind as they drive off. Jayla is dizzy with joy. She yells out loud, "It was nice to meet you, revolutionaries. Bye, Huey P. and Bobby. So long, Colonel Allensworth, and bye, Miss Biddy. I learned a lot and won't ever forget you. Glad I saw you, California. We had fun in your sun." And off they go, still making their way down the coast, determined to ride all the way to the bottom of the state before they turn left and head home. The end. Oh, my little readers, was that a great adventure? And I feel like the California we knew about, surfing and sun and Hollywood, we got a whole different view of what California's history and the people that we highlight. They may not be on a red carpet, but they paved the way. All right. Did everyone enjoy that story? Can I get some thumbs up out there? Awesome. I loved it too. And of course, Jaw, who you couldn't see this whole time, but he was listening intently right on my knee. That's where we like to read. All right. So I'm so glad you joined us in Ruthy's reading room, right? We love reading these stories with you and sharing so much new knowledge. I hope you enjoyed it as well. And maybe you can talk some more with your parents and caregivers about California. Right? Maybe you can look into other stories and people of importance from the Black community who came up in California. So I'll leave that with you. And remember, the best place to read is wherever you are with a book. I hope you head out to your local library often and keep adding knowledge to your knowledge bank. While you're here, don't forget to subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and hit that notification bell. That way you'll know each time I add a storytime video, a Ruthy's Reviews and Recs video, maybe even an author spotlight to the channel, and you'll be able to enjoy every single one from beginning to end. Thanks for sticking with us. John, I love having you, and we'll see you next time. Happy reading, little readers. Goodbye.
Ruthy's read it.